Hello, everyone. I'll start off by asking two questions. It's the month of January, so a lot of people must have had their New Year resolutions. Any show of hands, how many people have probably had a New Year resolution, right? Now, I'm going to ask a second question, which is even more important. How many of y'all have been actually able to keep that New Year resolution, right? Because here's the thing that happens. We start off with a lot of gusto, a lot of motivation, but somewhere down the line, that whole motivation drops and we bombarded with some sort of excuses, some sort of work related things that come up, and eventually that motivation, that resolution remains just that, a resolution. So I want to share it with a personal story. In 2023, I was stuck in a rut. I was working towards a promotion that didn't happen. I was being very erratic towards my fitness. As a result, I had put on a lot of weight. And even on the work front, because of not getting the promotion, I was not doing well there as well. And eventually, all of those things crept in one after another, which means I was not waking up well, my eating habits were not good. In short, just to put it in one word, I was struggling. And all of this led to finally affecting me mentally as well. And deep down, there was a lot of people who always told me growing up that I had a lot of potential. But when I deeply introspected myself in 2023, I remained just that, potential. Now at this point of time, on another level of introspection, I realized that there were one thing that was causing all of these issues, and it could be summarized in two words, and that is I was consistently inconsistent. It means I would start off with something, but eventually over time I would give up. At the first sign of failure, I would run away, and this became a habit. And it just so happened that at this point of time, a gentleman who is revered around the world, David Goggins, he was introduced to me through a video. And so I listened to his first podcast with Joe Rogan. I was blown away. And rightly so. This person had come from nothing. He had absolutely been mentally harassed. He suffered from dyslexia. He was abused by his father as well. He had every reason to be a failure. Yet, through sheer hard work, through doing hard things, and just by trying to be the best version of himself, he had become what we call the hardest man on this planet. Now, during this talk and after being inspired by him and finishing his 400-page 2 books in span of 2 weeks, I saw a recurring theme. Firstly, he always tried to do hard things, and secondly, he tried to do things that he hated. This man was an ultra marathoner, which means he ran hundreds of miles in races. At age of 50, he recently did a 240-mile ultra marathon. But one of the things that he often tells is that he hates running, which is surprising. Why would you want to do something that you hate the most and be the best at it? And the thing that he says is that if you do something that you absolutely hate the most, and if you do well at it, it gives you confidence in any aspect of life that, hey, if I can do one thing that I hate the most and be good at it, all the other things are easier for me. And so I took a chapter of that book and I decided on a whim that I was going to do the one thing that I absolutely hate. I, at that time, couldn't even run 10 minutes on a cardio. And out of a whim, I decided that I was going to burn 500 calories with a workout every single day. For the explanation, how do you track this? You track it via an Apple Watch, which basically tracks when you run, spin, elliptical, whatever exercise that you do, and it shows how many calories you burn. This, on an average, takes about 45 minutes to burn 500 calories with a workout if you push yourself. Typically takes even an hour. And on a whim, I decided that I was going to do a 500 calorie workout every single day, inspired by Goggins. More importantly though, this time I didn't want to give up. So I decided that, hey, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to keep myself accountable on social media. And if I fail, I'll be embarrassed in front of probably everyone. And so, out of a whim on 25th November 2023, I decided to do a 500 calorie workout for the first time. And so began the journey. Now, keep in mind that I am someone who didn't even have a social media account at the time. I was so shy that I didn't want to even show my face. And what happened with that is my first video got 5 views in 24 hours. Off to a great start, I know. But I was motivated. I had all the motivation, all the things in my mind to prove myself that, hey, I could do that. And so began the journey of so-called consistently inconsistent once again. I started with gusto, but soon, a month in, I was tired. I wanted to give up. And it was at this point of time that because I was documenting, because of all the thoughts in my head, I just kept telling myself, give yourself 1 year. Give yourself until the end of 2024. Don't think about anything other than that. And just to ensure, I decided that I'm not going to give up. I'm going to show up every day. I'm going to start learning new things while doing this workout. I learned content creation from scratch. Because I was doing that hard thing of working out every day, a cardio that I hated the most, I slowly noticed that I could even do hard things at work. My confidence started coming back. So, what were the things happened as I started these workouts and kept at it until the end of 2024? Now, what did this consistency teach me? Number one, I realized that the same food habits were not going to help me. I needed to fuel my body better. I needed to have more protein, more better, healthier food in order to be able to do those workouts. Otherwise, I wasn't going to sustain, nor was I going to see results. So I started eating better. I started taking care of myself. Step 2, I realized that if I had to be able to show up day on day, I had to recover better. Naturally, I started prioritizing sleep. I started sleeping at the same time every day, which means I started waking up early, which was unheard of for me. I started going to bed at around 9 p.m. I would wake up at 4:30 a.m. and get all the stuff done. Now, this helped in the next aspect, which is it started becoming a flywheel. Now, because I was working out every day, I started eating better. I started recovering better. Now, because I was doing that one hard thing, it gave me the confidence even at work to pursue hard things. I started showing up for those hard tasks because I was not afraid anymore. Because I'm like, hey, I'm doing one thing that I absolutely don't like. These are things that I might as well enjoy, might as well give a shot. So I started volunteering for those opportunities. I started seeking things that probably people didn't want to do because they didn't like it, but I wanted to do it just to see how far I could go. And here's what happened. These progress didn't come just in one day, but over the course of several months, I started doing better at work. I started getting recognized there, started getting rave reviews. Mentally, and most importantly, which is where 90% of the game is, I realized, I started feeling confident. I started feeling that if given a task, this is something that I wanted to own because I knew I could do it. Because if everybody didn't want to do it, I knew I could do the hard tasks. My health improved. I lost 10 pounds. More importantly, I was able to work out every day and I was able to get to my dream goal of getting my six-pack abs. I reduced my body fat that much. My relationships improved. Because everybody was seeing how I was keeping myself accountable, they started cheering me on. They started talking to me, showing me things that I could do in my life. My wife became a big supporter. She was inspired by it. She started working out with me too. So, the final lesson, which was most importantly, I grew by 0.1% every single day. Now, this growth, there were a lot of down days, nothing worked. There were a lot of great days too. But the most important thing that I learned is that motivation is temporary, discipline is permanent, that I had to show up every single day and that it did not matter how I was feeling. What mattered was getting the work done. So all the high talk aside, you may be wondering, after all, you were just doing a workout and showing yourself on Instagram or social media, what were the results? The results were that now I have done a 500 calorie workout every single day for 792 days in a row. As a matter of fact, I don't live in Boston. I live in Illinois. So I flew from Illinois to Boston today. This airport is about 60 miles here. So I landed at my hotel at 2, finished a workout again for continuing my streak, and then drove all the way here. So secondly, because I documented this journey, it inspired a bunch of folks to take up fitness. They could see the transformation firsthand, and over a course of 2.5 years, it's grown to over 588K community. Secondly, I met my idol, the person that actually inspired this journey. So David Goggins happens to come to Chicago, and I used to tag him in every post that I made as a source of inspiration, and he recognized me and he called me in front of 3,000 people and told people that this is my guest and he's going to be with me as an epitome of consistency. A video that racked up over 6 million views, but an example that a person that I once admired was able to recognize the sheer consistency and see for himself as well that there is people who he can inspire to be consistent too. But most important key thing that I want to leave you here is that consistency in even one aspect as simple as doing a 500 calorie workout can actually be the flywheel to improve every aspect of your life. I just started by doing one hard thing, and it potentially changed the trajectory of my career, my health, my relationships, my work. And one of the things is that consistency is like an exponential curve. It starts slowly, but the success, once you see it, it is always exponential. So a final message for everyone out here is that if there's a hard thing that you're afraid to do, make it a point to do those hard things, to do that consistently. For students, if it's that subject that you don't like, study it every day. If it's a work that you don't like, do it every day. Eventually, you'll become so good at it that you realize it's not something that you hate. It was just the mind playing tricks with you, and that you can actually get good at it. And once you get good at it, you'll realize you can get good at anything you set your mind to. Thank you.